What he's trying to do is withhold information. Made no secret about it that in the future, I don't know how far away, but in the future, plot right on the corner, residential area, trying to work out where the boundary lies. Here he is, come on, get in.
Hello, hello.
You can have that. Point it at me. See?
Nope.
You see?
Got you now.
And this is the start of this week's video. So, out with the old and in with the new. I've just picked Chris up, obviously, because his van is in the sign writers and mine's going in a bit later. We're going to swap them over because we're changing the branding from Thames Valley Brickwork to Thames Valley Group. The reason for that is a couple of reasons. One of them is, and I've made no secret about it, that in the future, I don't know how far away, but in the future, we plan to exit the company, right? So my little girl's, my youngest is 5, time she's 15, we want to have this company in a position where it's worth decent money, we can sell it and move on and build another business doing something else. So the reason that we changed the name is because when we first started the company, I mentioned to Chris, how do you feel about selling it? We were both on board, so we spoke to a broker that I knew from one of my business groups that I used to do. All right, those guys all build businesses to sell. So we spoke to the broker and he told us what we needed to do with the company to position it where it's attractive to potential buyers, right? So the idea is that a company from up north has been trying to break into the London market for a long time. They can't, they struggle with it. They'll come in, swallow us up and slot us into London. We get inquiries for London all of the time. So the idea with the group is brickwork, building and development. All right, that is what we are building with this. It's not just a brickwork contractor, and we exit it as the Thames Valley Group. So the branding on my van, I'll show you in a minute, is the old logo, the old website and the old email, and it's confusing. When we turn up on jobs, are you the group, are you brickwork? It's confusing. If you confuse people, you leave money on the table. So as we've had a little bit of time off this week, Chris and I have had a lot of conversations around what do we want this to look like, and actually developing has always been the North Star for us. We've always wanted to buy our own parcels of land and build our own houses. So that is what we're going to put our energy into. We can raise the funds if we need to, I'm sure of it. It's about finding the right plot at the right price. Now, I'm under no illusions, and neither is Chris, that we need to upskill and learn about buying land. We know how to build beautiful houses, we know how to build extensions, we know how to project manage, get all trades in. When it comes to buying the right plot of land at the right price, there's a massive gap in knowledge. So from today, we're going to start researching, viewing plots of land, talking to people that do it as a job. We've got a few developers that we do work for that are happy to have a coffee with us, sit down and talk us through the process. We need to learn about seal payments, about planning permission, permitted development, all of that stuff. So from today forward, that's where our energy is going to go. And just on the brickwork side of things, this morning I've had another 3 inquiries, and we're off to look at an extension in a minute for a friend of mine, his boss, which is only a little single story. So it is all systems go. It's been quiet this week. As of next week, probably when this goes out, to be fair, we'll be full steam ahead again. We've managed to keep the lads ticking over whilst we're quiet, which is good. And then it's all systems go again. So that's where we're at. I just wanted to stick that out there. You know, this is about being transparent with you lot. We are building our company to sell. A lot of people didn't even know you could do that. I know me and Chris had that conversation. And as a rule of thumb, for a company like ours, you get 5 times the annual profit, right, is the sale price. There's a lot of moving parts to that. There's a lot of factors to it. It's not that simple, but as a rule of thumb, right, if you make 100 grand a year, you may well be able to get £500,000 for your company, £1 million a year, 5 million, so forth and so on. It's definitely worth knowing. It's definitely within our plans. Let's do this. So we popped out to this plot here. It's on Rightmove for £99,500. I grew up in this area. I literally grew up a mile down the road. At first glance, lovely little plot right on the corner, residential area. But I've just spoken to the neighbour, and that was an interesting conversation. Come on, I'll tell you in the van. So I knocked next door. I saw their front door was open. I just gave them a little knock and asked them about it. People in the local area know what's going on with the land, or usually. And what he said is that who they bought the house off split the garden and then sold it at auction for like 20 grand. The problem you've got is all the services are in the back alley, and to get services to that plot of land you've got to go through their garden and the garden over there, and he said they'll never give permission for that. And he said the guy who bought it we bought it 20 grand, about 8 applications rejected. So again, we need to do our research on that, look at applications on this plot, and the guy who owns this now paid 75 grand for it without even looking at it, and he can't get a house on there, so he just wants to get rid of it and get his money back. So he's caught a 75 grand cold because he didn't do his research, and he bought it from auction without having a look at it. At first glance, perfect little plot to build an house. Dig a little bit deeper, not so much. Let's go and look at another one. Loads of stinging nettles, plot number 2. This one's around the corner from Christian's house. We're just trying to work out where the boundary lies. Comes in line with their back garden there, so it's just behind Chris there. Decent size, but you've got a stream that runs through there as well, so that's something else to think about. But again, a residential area, lovely plot. I want to knock next door and have the same chat with them as I've just had with the other guys. Just find out a little bit more about it, but it's all good research, isn't it? You can't build 8 metres from the bank, you've got to build 8 metres back from the bank. It's also flooded, next door's house is flooded twice. What we're learning is that there's a lot of people that buy a plot of land on a whim, without viewing it, without doing their homework, without doing their due diligence, and they catch a cold on it. There's nothing you can do with that land. The guy who owns it now has put a planning application in, it's been rejected on 7 counts, and like I said, it floods, and you've got to be 8 metres back from the stream, which is just there, which takes you to next door's boundary, so you can't build anything on it at all. And he's still trying to flog it for 70 grand. I emailed the estate agent and got an email back from the owner of the land, Mr. Hussain, I think his name is, and he said, don't speak to the neighbours, they tried to buy it off me and I rejected it. Well, I've just spoke to the neighbours, they said we've never placed it, never ever, we don't want it, it's nothing, no interest in it. What he's trying to do is withhold information and try and sell it because he's caught a cold on it. So it seems to me like there's a lot of people that haven't done their own work, bought useless plots of land, and they're trying to flog them on to people that think they know what they're up to. So really productive, loads of lessons learned. Let's go and pick this van up and see what this new sign writing's saying. I've had to get in the back of the motor to do the outro. It's too sunny. Christian's van's getting done now. I'm dropping mine off, leaving it here overnight, and they're going to do mine. The logo's all been changed. They're doing our business cards as well. A lot of people don't use business cards no more, but we do, because it's great when you pop up to a job or there's a job that you like the look of, you can just drop your card in, and we've got our QR code on that as well as our site signs. So they're doing all of our branding, doing a cracking job of it, to be fair, chuffed with it. We've learned so much about land and working out GDV, which is gross development value, and then working it back to work out what we can pay for the land. So loads have been learnt this week. That's definitely the way that we're moving towards the development. It's interesting times, it's exciting times, and I will document all of it on this channel. Alright, so like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.